The people tend to be fairly segregated. Each town there's a Uyghur section and there's a Chinese section. The Chinese section tends to be more modern, a lot of bigger buildings, skyscrapers, and the office buildings. And the Uyghurs tend to be more agricultural. There's stalls where they sell food and smaller markets and smaller goods. They tend to be very poor.
It's hard to see as a tourist, but human rights organizations say harsh tactics are used to keep the Uyghurs under control. Spying is widespread. Arrest, imprisonment, and even executions are common here. Still, Uyghurs tried to communicate with us in small ways.
There was one incident in Gulja. We had gone to a bazaar, and we were looking at the wares of this guy who was selling trinkets. We told him we were American, and as soon as we told him that, he pulled out a pamphlet, and he said, look here, there's this, American woman in this picture. But I think what he was really trying to show us was next to her was a picture of Rabia Kadir, a very famous Uyghur businesswoman who was imprisoned for 8 years for giving some newspapers to an American delegation. What he really wanted to say was, Rabia Kadir, look at her and remember that incident. And we asked him if we could film it, and he said, no.
There was one interview we had set up in advance. He was a Uyghur man who had agreed to meet us. He came to our hotel room late one night in the city of Gulja.
When he met us, we just thought he was absolutely unforgettable. He was very articulate, and at the same time, he was terrified to come, just to come to our hotel to see us. He was terrified. He sat in our hotel room trembling for, close to an hour and refused to be videotaped. And here was sitting in our hotel room kind of the embodiment of the fear and so the results of this policy that China's had with the Uyghurs these last 50 years. I felt that in order to tell the story, someone like that had to be shown. In the United States, there are some Uyghurs who are willing to speak out. Some of them also tend to be afraid. They have families back home. One of the Uyghurs that we interviewed has lived in the States for 6-7 years. His mother and his sister still live in China. He simply decided that if he doesn't speak out, who's gonna speak out?
Hello, this is Salim. Nice to meet you. Come on in. This is my house. In China, we are considered as a minority. In China, the word minority or 少数民族, it automatically means second-class citizen. It means you're backward, you're dirty, you're superstitious, you have no education, you're lazy, all kinds of labels on you, on us. My father was one of the victims of the Chinese regime. He was a pro-independence person. He had this deep belief that Uyghur people deserved an independent state. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. He was in prison from 1970 till 1980.
By the time his father got out of prison, Alam was 11 and didn't recognize him.
I went home and I saw one gray-haired, long-bearded, skinny older man. We were all crying.
Today, Alam and his brother live in the United States under political asylum.
We speak a different language, we believe in a different religion, our cultures, traditions, all different. Today, China conquered us, occupied us, and treat us like slaves, dogs, whatever, not as human beings, without respecting our human rights, religion, everything, just force us to live according to Chinese culture and Chinese standard. There is no way we can accept that, and we will not accept that. I don't think we have ever accepted that. And that's why, as feeble as we are, we're still struggling against Chinese rule.